Hey everybody, Anish Majumdar here, career coach to the fiercely ambitious. Back at you today with a video that is designed to break apart the myths that keep people like us from being able to build the relationships that we need. Specifically, the relationships that we need to build at the senior executive level and beyond. This one is really near and dear to my heart because I have to be honest with you guys, to those of you who don't know me, I'm an outsider. I grew up in Montreal, Canada. I grew up with parents who were Indian immigrants. They certainly espoused the credo of hard work. They weren't aware, based on their life experience, how important it becomes, especially as you progress in your career, to be able to build these types of relationships. They had no idea how to help on that side. And I found myself to be an outsider. I didn't have the credentials. I didn't have the MBA. I still don't. I don't have the corporate pedigree. And in fact, in many ways, I consider myself an outsider all the way. I was an actor, a journalist. Like, what right did I have to build these relationships? Well, I'm now over 10 years into serving as a career coach, and predominantly who I work with are senior management, senior executives, CEOs, etc. They have been responsible for all the growth. They've been responsible for all of the heads up, all the referrals. They've been responsible for all of the deals, all of the opportunities. So I really want to share some of what I've learned here, because if I had known even half of this when I was starting out, I would have realized that I have much more to anticipate with positivity than fear. There's so much fear there because, among other things, not to get off the track here, but there's a reason why this information is kept to us. There's a reason why networking, CSuite networking, is such a big hazy mystery. People, and there are huge corporate interests who would want nothing more than you to never explore that, because there's power for you and less power for them. If the only way you can get an opportunity is to click on a job posting and wait until your life runs out, guess what? They have all the power, you have none, okay? So let's get into four big myths, okay, that we need to just get past right now, okay? Number one, you need to have special permission. There has to be some kind of a middleman between you and the person that you're speaking with at any company that is feeling the pain of what you solve. And if you don't have that, if you don't have this vaunted person vouching for you, if you don't have this person shaking your hand or Zoom shaking your hand and saying, boom, you should listen to him, you don't have a leg to stand on. Look, you don't need special permission. It is a right of yours as a human being on this earth to meet new people, to get to know them. There is nothing wrong with that. Have we gotten so absurdly and stupidly off course that we think our whole lives are going to be like a student in a class? It's your right. It's your capability. You're a human being like anybody else. If you've got a value, you've got to be the one who's putting yourself out there. Otherwise, the message will never get across. You can spend your entire life waiting around for recruiters and HR people and internal and external and wait on their priorities, but no one will ever care about it the way that you do. No one will ever have as much of a vested stake the way that you do, which means at the end of the day, no one will ever serve you the way that you can. So let's eliminate that idea. If you have lived your life with integrity, if you have consistently added value, if you've consistently struggled with family and everything else to up-level yourself and keep moving it forward, and you know that your reputation precedes you in that way, like you've been a decent person and you've worked your butt off for what you've done, you have every right to be there, because guess what? They're not special either. They're just human beings. And that brings me to my next point, okay? There is a perception that you can't build relationships at, for example, the C-suite level, because these are like vaunted gods. They are experts of everything. They know everything about everything, and there's nothing that you can do. These are not gods, okay? These are human beings. And here's a little secret, okay? They got to wherever they're at by basically the same means that all of us get there. They figured out a lane way of influence, a lane way of over delivery of value, and they rode that and they properly leveraged that to where they are. But just because someone's a CEO doesn't mean that they know as much about finance as you do, who spent your life in finance. Just because someone's a CEO doesn't mean that they know as much about technology the way that you do, having spent 2 decades in tech, making your bones from software engineering on up. They don't know everything. They have blind spots. They have biases. They have priorities. They have fears. They are questioning themselves. They need help. And no, they do not have perfect 2020 vision in terms of where that help is going to be. It's part of the problem. It's part of why we need to look at them first and foremost as human beings. If you're anxious about meeting new people, I promise you they feel anxious as well in other parts of their life. If you're feeling fearful, or if you're feeling like, you're disappointed, or if you're feeling angry at the things that are going wrong in your industry that no one is talking about, I promise you they have felt these feelings. The human condition binds all of us. All of us. Just because you have a job title means absolutely nothing in terms of divorcing one from the other, okay? These are not gods. These are simple human beings, and human beings will help solve everything that ails us ultimately. Number one, the big myth is if you don't have like a transaction, like you don't have like a simple pitch or a pre-baked idea, then you have no reason to build a relationship. And that also is something that is so unbelievably wrong, okay? Let me give you an example. If you're an expert in anything, if you've built up a domain of knowledge in anything, let's say, in your career, you have a finance background, you have a management background, you've got a little bit of a sales and a little bit of an operations background. Just you sitting as an expert for what you are and getting real about what this person is experiencing, what this business is experiencing, asking some of the right questions so you can start diving in deep, tying in their story to numbers so you can actually chart out a course of what's working, what's not. You doing this is the value, and that is infinitely more precious than you coming in there pitching. And executives get pitched to all the time. They are well aware and their barriers are way up for transactional people. So please do not ever think that if you're going out there and what you really want is a job and you really have no interest in getting to know anyone, you don't care about anyone, you don't care about what they're doing, you're not practicing a value first thing in terms of let me see if I can help, and then based on what we see, if I can help further do it, you just want to scam people, it will come out. It's not going to work. So my advice to you is understand where your value truly comes from. It's not from some magical pitch. It's coming from you being able to open up, get to work, and apply the benefit of that perspective. Because one of the key truths at the high levels, okay, a lot of these people, they're setting the agenda for what to do, what comes next, but they don't have immediate amounts of feedback. They don't have, they're operating in a vacuum chamber a lot of the ways. They're hoping that what they're doing is going to work. They're using their instincts. But for me to talk with you for 20, 30 minutes about, for me, your career and figuring out what's going on, what's working, what's not, you're getting value through that bounce off. You're getting value through that feedback. It's helping you figure out, are my decisions valid? Is the way forward valid? Are there things that I'm not seeing that I can? There's immense value there, okay? But you're never gonna get there if you think that you have to come in with a magical pitch, okay? So the idea of building relationships at that level is to be absolutely authentic about your intentions, is to be absolutely clear about this being a professional conversation, not just a getting to know you one, and to be absolutely clear about the fact that money does not need to exchange hands for us to have mutual benefit here, okay? And you've got to know that. And usually it's a question of belief in ourselves, not belief in others, okay? Here's the last one, okay? So you're saying to yourself, okay, I don't need a pitch. I don't need to have like the perfect resume. All of that is true, right? What do I need? All you need is one idea. That's it. All you need is one idea. Remember that example before. This person has a finance background, management, a little sales, a little operations. If my experiences tell me that most businesses are doing exactly the wrong thing because they're treating these things as four siloed operations, whereas there's one way that we can restructure the business that uses and leverages all of these things together, there's my one idea. That's enough of a point of view, a prism that I can use to have an educated dialogue because there's enough curiosity and there's enough need for us to get started. Enough there for someone to say, interesting. Let's talk a little bit more about this. All you need is one idea. What is the big problem that you solve and what is the way that only you can solve it? What are the big issues that you see in your industry that no one is talking about that you can solve, okay? Don't stand for these myths. Go out there and be absolutely bold. And if you want to go further with my trainings, I encourage you to go over to helloanish.com, HELLOANISH.com, where you will find more trainings. You'll find my masterclass, where we'll teach you exactly what I'm teaching my masterminders, and you'll get to a different place much faster. Talk to you guys soon. Keep the comments coming.